Good morning, my people. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everybody is having a good morning. We're in the middle of the week. Nothing a whole lot to talk about, so I thought I'd just talk a little bit about the state of the WWE and where it is, and are we happy with the direction we're going into WrestleMania? You guys know, if you've watched enough of my videos, you know that I'm not. And I'm going to kind of elaborate on that today, like where we are right now. And I keep comparing it to last year, but I want to say this real quick, man. I think about the bad days of WCW, right? Before WCW, with me, guys, you're going to get a lot of old time. You're going to get a lot of Attitude Era, WCW old days. You're going to get a lot of that with me because that's where I come from. And again, I left wrestling. I walked out the door because it was awful. I came back because I thought it was good. I came back because there were really good storylines last year, and there was a lot going on, and it was very intriguing, and they fooled me, obviously. Anyway, and I'm not one to just bail. I'm not going to do that. I'm hanging in there. I want to see. They've got a lot of potential because there's a lot of good talent. Well, not a lot, but there's definitely talent. I watched NXT last night, and I got to say, I like NXT. And I think that it's potentially better than Raw and SmackDown. It's definitely better than SmackDown. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, all right, it wasn't even that great of a show, but I was like, dude, this ain't bad. Like I know it's very the women men's ratio on there is a little odd. Like I feel like there's way more women on NXT than there is men, which is fine. I'm certainly not complaining. I do feel like there's a lot of talent in NXT, a lot. Anyway, I didn't want to make this an NXT rant, but I just wanted to bring that up. But what I want to say was, like, you know, watching WWE these days, it kind of takes me back, and I think about the old WCW days, and not the good times. I'm talking about, like, post-NWO, like, post-Bischoff, when he left the first time. It got really bad over there, and the storylines were awful. I mean, it was atrocious, but I was still paying attention to it, and I was still watching it. It's kind of like, that's why I'm comparing it to today. Like, if the storylines are atrocious, they're not good storylines. Some people are going to watch this and be like, "Are you seriously comparing the late WCW days to this?" Yeah, I am. Because I've had some of the younger generation, my son, telling me that, you know, and this blows my mind, how grateful he is for today's WWE because it's better than the last 10 years. Like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? Like, was the last 10 years worse than this? Was it? If so, then I'm not at all, like, regretful of leaving and not watching. Because this is hot garbage. They could potentially do some things for WrestleMania 41, and I don't want to say fix it, because I don't think there's... First off, you're not reaching WrestleMania 40's climax. It's not going to happen, no matter what you do. There's no Roman, there's no Rock, but I don't even have to go on there. Yeah, they're bringing Cena in, but I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. Cena's not Rock, Cena's not Roman, and those two just alone, they brought so much to the table last year for WrestleMania. And if you think you're going to replace that with Cena, then I'm sorry, but you're mistaken. That's not going to happen. That's not a thing. And Cena's washed. And CM Punk is right behind him, guys. I'm just saying. I've never been a huge CM Punk fan. I don't dislike him. He's certainly not on my hate list. But I don't hold him as of high regard as most of you guys do. I think overall the WWE fan base is kind of sus. You know, I don't like the way they do in the crowds when they're chanting, "This is awesome," and half the time I'm like, for what? Why is this awesome? This is not awesome. This match has been pretty bad. Okay, they had a They probably had a really good move. Somebody did something that was crazy. Okay, great. But the match overall hasn't been good. This has not been awesome. And this is not a match. Like, this was a beer run, man. I say that all the time. Like, beer run. I'm not going to sit here and watch this match. We'll see what's going on Facebook, and I'm scrolling. Because, I mean, this is awful. It's not good TV. But it reminds me a lot of the old WCW days and the stupid storylines that were going on. It was just hard to stay on board with. It got there with WCW at the end, you know, and it was really hard to stay. You know, give me a reason to watch next week. That's something else. Like, you could literally miss a week of Raw or SmackDown, especially speaking of me. You could probably miss a month of SmackDown and not miss anything. I mean, give me a reason to tune in next week. I mean, one of my favorite moments of wrestling ever was Tony Schiavone yelling, "Gotta go, see you next week," you know, and something's crazy is happening in the ring. And, you know, and there was no, that was back in the, you know, early 2000s, late 90s even. The late 90s, there was no internet to run to. There was no website to go check out. You didn't know what the heck was going to... You didn't know. You had to wait till next week to find out. So bet your bottom on Monday night, you were sitting in front of your TV at 7 o'clock waiting on Nitro to come on. And they were going to show the highlights of what happened after it went off the air. They gave you that reason to check in. They gave you that reason to be there next Monday. I'm not getting any of that from WWE. And there's no competition. Because there's nobody else out there coming up. Hey, AEW, I hope you're listening. Take Bischoff's model and run with it, because WWE is doing nothing to have you tune in next week. They are doing nothing to get your attention. And I'm here because I love wrestling. I am. I love wrestling. I missed it while I was gone. But I'm not going to tune in to garbage. I'll find something else to do. But I'm willing to wait this out. I'm waiting to see, because there's enough talent on the roster. There's not a whole lot. WWF also talks out of both sides of their mouth, because, you know, one minute they're in there going, well, you know, Cody's run hasn't been as great because there's not a lot of good villains, but then you're always telling us that the roster's never been this stacked before. The roster's never been this great. This is the best era of WWE. All right, first off, none of that is true. This is not the most stacked roster you've ever had. There's a lot of good talent on that roster, but this is not the best roster you've ever had. Secondly, this is not the best era of WWE wrestling. I don't even have to say what era that was. We're not even going to go there. We already know. And that's okay. You're probably never going to reach that Attitude Era level again. That's probably never going to happen. And that's okay. But this, what you're putting out there today, what you're producing today is trash. It's awful. It's not good. And I know I watch enough YouTube videos. I watch enough, you know, social media to know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. I see it all. It's out there. Now, you get these guys that are on YouTube that make these videos and they try to just, everything's positive and they try to do, you know, and it's almost like, God, you're reaching so far. Like, you are trying so hard right now. Bless your heart. You're actually having to work harder to make this out to be a good product. It's not a good product. It's not. And if you think it is, then that's your opinion, and that's fine. Just like this is my opinion. It doesn't make it fact. I'm going to tell you it is. It's fact all day. But it's awful. Get it together, man. I don't know. How long are we going to sit? Like, if we continue this path, today is February 12th, 2025. We are a couple weeks away from the Elimination Chamber leading into WrestleMania in April. And, you know, so we got some time to work on WrestleMania 41, okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't looking good. This looks bad. And I've already made a video about, you know, did we go from, you know, first to worst WrestleManias, and I'm still on that. I'm still saying yes. I've seen some bad WrestleManias before. I've watched them all, even though I wasn't watching for years. I went back and watched every single WrestleMania. I've seen every single one of them. And there have been some bad ones. There have been some bad ones for sure. But this one we're coming up against, this one right here is leading to the all-time worst WrestleMania of all time. And that sucks. Because there is enough talent on this roster, okay? It's not as stocked as they say it is, but there's enough talent on this roster to make this a good WrestleMania, even without Roman and Rock. You don't need them. Now, I would do everything I could if I'm in charge to make sure Roman has some sort of purpose. But I knew this months ago. I said this months ago, but even before he fought Solo for the Ulafala, like, what is Roman's role in WrestleMania? They don't have anything laid out for him. It looks like everybody's going to have something except for him. And I'm sorry, he's been the face of this company for the last, I don't know how many years. And you mean to tell me he doesn't have, and last year's biggest WrestleMania, and he was a part of it, he had 2 matches. And you mean to tell me he doesn't have any part in this? Like nothing? Like, I would at least make him part of the storyline, even if he's not wrestling. Like, make him do something with him. Like, have him involved. I don't think they understand how important that is. Like, it's just crazy to me. And maybe he'll get involved in this whole Solo versus Cody. And like I said yesterday, I think Jacob's going to have something to do with that. I definitely think Fatu's going to play a factor in that. Maybe he gets involved in that. That would be even better. Even if he's just, if he's hurt and he can't wrestle, he can still be, there on the side of whoever. I'd really like to see that. I'd like to see him involved some way, somehow in WrestleMania. I think that would be a huge thing. We have time, guys. We have time to make this at least a decent WrestleMania. It's not going to reach last year's peak. There's no way to fix that. Absolutely none. But you can do something with it. You can make it better. And I don't want this to be the ending days of WCW like I've been watching, because that's exactly what it reminds me of. And AEW over there is got a pretty decent product. It's not awful. I'm going to watch it tonight. Tonight it comes on, Dynamite. I'm going to watch Dynamite tonight. And, I want to see what they've got going on. And I'm rooting them on. And I'm rooting them on because I love WWE. And if AEW is strong, then WWE is strong. They will only make each other better, just like WCW did WWE and vice versa. They made each other stronger when they were battling the Monday Night Wars. They fed off each other, and that is why wrestling was the way it was back then, and that is why it is the best era of wrestling ever. Competition makes you better, and that's exactly what's missing right now in WWE. There's no competition. And I want AEW to be better because of that, so I'm pulling for them. And I really, really hope they start putting together some better stories and making some better things happen. So I'll be tuning into AEW tonight. I'll be watching. I'll be back tomorrow with my review on that. You guys have a wonderful day. Maybe I'll be back later for lunch. We'll see. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.